Hey, this is Tyler from Saving Vice, and this is As the Story Grows.
Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Brad Patton. This week, Tyler Small from Saving Vice joins the podcast. Saving Vice's latest single, Phantom Pain, was released back in July, and the band has been working on their sophomore LP. They're hitting the road mid-October, and you can find tour dates and tickets at savingvice.com. Tyler talks about using television and movies as lyrical inspiration, the struggle to be ahead of the curve creatively, and the ups and downs of trying new ideas musically. This conversation was a lot of fun, and I left this episode pretty sparse musically, so I hope you guys will jump on Spotify and give Saving Vice a listen. But after you check out this week's chat with Tyler Small. Enjoy.
Oh, so the noise has turned to silence, and the pain can't sing along. So the malice swallows kindness as your skin is peeling off. The memories behind me become an obstacle, and the truth can't set me free, but the lies could let me go. So the noise has turned to silence, and the pain can't sing along. So the malice swallows kindness as your skin is peeling off. The memories behind me become an obstacle, and the truth can't set me free, but the lies could.
Sorry, I'm cycling through the lights trying to find one that makes me not look less like I'm dead, but like more like I'm vampire dead because that's sexier. But anyways, all right. No, yeah. So my buddy, he's one of my childhood friends from like I have like I had that like high school friend group that was like are the four horsemen of the friendocalypse, as we still call it from our childhood. And one of my buddies, he basically like when we did all our nerd or anime, going to Warped Tour, like that was like our whole life growing up. And then he does like super crazy like hacker cybersecurity for someone he can't tell me in DC. But yeah, he's totally helped me when I got fucked on my PlayStation account before. I basically got like some bullshit happened that some virus piggybacked on something and like locked me out of the PSN network, and he like was just like got me back in, and I've been fine ever since. Yeah. So
That's rad.
So yeah, DC. I'm very fond of DC because of this experience,
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. There are always people like, it's weird. I grew up here and I moved away and like, I'm back. That's always weird because it's like, you have that friend who it's like, they can't tell you what they work on. Or my wife is doing a project now and she's like, yeah, it's top secret. And she has to carry her laptop everywhere or else government secrets go out.
Of those jobs.
Yeah. At the moment she does.
What can you tell me about her job?
She's in construction.
my brain went to the Death Star immediately. Like I just thought of Star Wars. Just like, well, what does your wife do? She's in construction, and like she's like got the blueprints for the Star Killer base. Like,
oh my gosh!
No, that's funny. Yeah, I was just watching. I watch a lot of spy movies, so I love that stuff. But yeah, that's tight. Yeah, Washington D.C. See how much we just talked about from that one piece of information.
It's great. It's wonderful. I've been admiring your backdrop, all your fun.
Oh yeah, I can't take credit. My girlfriend actually just spent the last 3 weeks redoing this entire wall. The couch is all new. I can show you guys if you want to see.
Rad.
We went with the full gothic horror mansion. That's like who she is. It's a lifestyle. She would say. But this side is mine, but you can't see it. But I have like this part is just a shrine to myself. It's like my reunion art and Saving Vice stuff, and then this whole wall is just Star Wars and Marvel and anime pretty much. But yeah, it's like the whole apartment is like we've pretty much covered every inch of the wall to the point where we literally have to put stuff in storage to put anything on the wall. And on top of that, like, it literally was kind of funny because I just got like my studio set up. So because I was trying to record like pre-production demos and stuff, especially over quarantine, we all learned to record because we had to, because we were all in different states. And we figured out there's so much shit on the walls of my apartment that it literally dampened the sound so I can record in here.
That's nice.
So I didn't have to insulate my apartment because I literally have something covering like every square foot of my walls.
That's amazing.
Because we're like minimalists with way too much nesting, like so it's like we're like, yeah, let's get a cute little 1-bedroom and then literally just like deck the halls. But yeah. Now you know all about my decorating. I don't know if you came here to talk about my
That's
band.
awesome. I'm here to talk about wherever the conversation leads and whatever is fun. So that's we'll talk about the band.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, let's go back. Did you grow up in Vermont?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
I feel like very sheltered, if I'm being honest. But very awesome. Like, I think Vermont is like, over the past year specifically, is the best place you could have been when everything was happening. Because depending on how you look at it, like if you wanted to maybe not feel removed, but walk out of your house and not feel like the world was ending, it was a good place to be for mental health. Like I've always felt that way, that like this is the place I'd always want to live. One of the best things about it is that it's so peaceful and not a lot happens, but the problem is that it gets very old and very stale.
Yeah.
So, one of the best parts about the whole lifestyle of being a musician is getting to go and experience all the craziness. And then when you get burnt out on it, you don't live in it. You get to go home and like, I can go be isolated, like everywhere we've practiced or recorded has been removed from everything. Like both of our practice spaces are in these peaceful, quiet little nowhere towns where you can walk everywhere and there's no one we know. Because that's like the environment we thrive in when we're not doing stuff, because we all get like socially and overwhelmed and we all have so much going on. It's like too much stimulation from other people, as much as we all love having friends and stuff, is just overwhelming because nothing ever stops. I've been on my computer on video today for 11 hours, like, so it's like you finally get that time and you're just like, I just want to walk to the coffee shop and then just do the band stuff and practice and not fucking be bothered by anyone, because like my brain can't take it. Like, and it sucks because you want to have all that energy for every single person and friend and family member and fan and business interaction and everyone. And like, it runs out. And when you're like, and it always makes me think back to when I used to try to like communicate with like musicians I was a big fan of when I was younger. And when I felt like, granted, like I always understood like, okay, they're busy, they're doing all this stuff, but like anytime I felt slighted by the lack of attention, it's like you really have an understanding for like how mentally draining it is to be in that position. And we're not even like famous, so you know what I mean? So it's like I'm saying all that from a person who like is relatively a noob in this whole game. So I can't even imagine what it's like when you kick it up to that level that I'm talking about. But yeah. I know I'm a big fan of like long answers to short questions, but sorry about that.
That's cool. Well, there's another one. What got you into music?
Oh man, music got me into music. I mean, I've loved music as long as I've been alive. I mean, if it wasn't like the Aladdin theme song, it was Hanson or like fucking Def Leppard or Linkin Park or something. I mean, I've always like, I feel like to me, music is a lot of what makes me love music is like, I don't want to say like movies made me like music, but there's something about the cinematic storytelling and like emotional roller coaster of movies where music takes a huge role in that. And for me, music that always impacted me the most, like carried me somewhere as if it was taking me through that emotional roller coaster. And like, I think that's why like there's such a small amount of happy music that appeals to me, because like when I'm usually going through it and I need music, it's not because I'm stoked. So it's like I don't really need music to put me in a good mood most of the time. I need music to help me relate to how shitty I'm feeling, or make me feel like it's something bigger. And that's how I feel like it's like when you are listening to a band that really connects with you, they're giving you this cinematic, like epic world or illusion in your head that is like understanding your pain and then taking it through this like story almost. And that's what music's always felt like. I think that's why movies and like are such a big inspiration to me when I write, because parts in movies have made me feel more than some music ever has, you know. And like I want to put that feeling into the music storytelling. So rather that just be in the melodies or the rhythm or the lyrics themselves, like I want to be able to translate that same feeling. And that's why when we use one of the reasons we're so big on backtracks is like, I know backtracks can be controversial with some people, but like I feel like it's necessary to create the atmosphere that you want. And like for us, it's like when you come to a Saving Vice show, I want you to feel like when you feel that booming like score in the background when Thanos or Darth Vader is talking, like I want you to feel that when our music is playing, you know. Yeah. And the backtracks are that to me. Like I'll look to like movies and action sequences to give me inspiration for like progressions when we're trying to do backtrack build-ups and stuff like that. And that's like my favorite part of, like, as far as after writing the vocals and stuff goes, like my favorite part of the actual studio process is just going through all the cool sound effects and instruments and noises and trying to create this illusion that matches the movie I see in my head, I guess.
Yeah. You talked about using movies as like lyrical inspiration. Like, is that something when you're writing, like you're just like, all right, I really loved like House on Haunted Hill. Like I want to write a song that encaptures that. Like that's.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. And it's like, for me, so how I write usually is like, I write on the spot, like slam poetry, but I have like a log of lyrics and notes. So anytime a rhyme or a lyric, or I hear a sentence in a movie that's just a really cool one-liner that I really like, I just write it down and I record it and I document it. And I have this whole, like, you know what, here, just for your interview, I'll make it something special here. I'm going to go into my actual notes that has like my entire list of shit for all the SB stuff I'm doing right now. And I'm going to read you some random shit. And then if you hear this in a song later,
you'll know this where it came from.
You can understand how small the first idea was before it became something big. And there might even be stuff in here from songs we already have.
Nice.
So here's the first one. Reunion is the name of my brand. That was a thing I wrote in here just as a lyrical thing, which is a lyric in a song I'm writing, like Reunion, but that's a different thing. Let's see. Only at the end do you understand. Star Wars. Yeah. I love that line. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I got mixed up with my folders because I have one that's all tattoo ideas too, but they all sound like lyrics. This is one me and Chase just came up with. The pigment is pouring. We just liked that. I don't know, like, this is actually like my headline on my Facebook. It's from the show Angel, which is like a spinoff of Buffy, if you ever followed that.
Oh yeah.
If nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do. I want to name our next album that, but I know the band won't let me. But if it does happen, you can hear it first right now. But I really love that quote. My grandmother at her like 86th birthday, I was just said this when she blew out her candles. I'm old enough to know, but young enough to learn. And I really thought that would be a cool lyric or a song name.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it'll kind of like, penny and dime just from Punisher. You know what I mean? I just thought it'd be cool, like a really ass-kicking song. But it's like that might end up just being a lyric that rhymes with something that rhymes with dime. Like that's how my writing goes. It's like I just want to make the words as entertaining and unique as possible.
Yeah.
While delivering what I'm trying to elicit, I guess. So it's like, how many times have you heard the same line by the same band.
Right.
And even we do it, I'm sure, without meaning to, you know, it's like we've got song names like, so Phantom Pain, the song we're dropping next Friday. I wrote that song. Well, me and Chase, you know, we wrote that song last July, like in 2000 over the pandemic. And we named the song the day we wrote it. And Beartooth's EP just had a song called Phantom Pain on it.
Yeah.
Full artwork and everything. Like the same fucking, like, same. And then they dropped a song about like dysmorphia and being insecure, which is literally one of our next songs I'm writing is about. And it's a complete coincidence because like that's like been my whole experience with music is having ideas that I'm like, okay, this is different. No one's doing this. And before I can execute it, a band way more famous than me does the exact same fucking thing with the exact color theme, the exact lyrics, but like, no, I mean, no one cares. No one's going to believe me. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You missed the boat. So but that's been like a curse with me and music is like every time I try to get ahead of the game, I end up doing the exact perfect marketable thing that every other fucking band is about to do. Like when I cut the sleeves off my denim jacket and was like, I'm going to bring back denim vests. And then Hot Topic started selling denim vests, and every band on Warped Tour wore denim vests that exact summer. Like I still remember that to this day because I remember going into Hot Topic because I got my jacket like $10 on clearance, made it myself, and the following summer I went back in and they were selling cut off denim jackets for like $50, and there was like these guys are literally paying $40 more for something I did last year for $10. Like, and that's how fashion and music trends are. It's hard because you want your art to be so genuine and real and true to your heart. But it's like, if you want to make it in the industry, you have to stand out. Yeah. So if you do something, no matter how creatively honest it was, but it just looks like the same thing everyone else was doing, like that sucks. And that's kind of where that all kind of comes from, you know? Yeah. It's not I had all these ideas first, but it's more of a like, oh shit, like all my best ideas I can't use because someone else got seen doing it first. That's kind of what the industry is with pretty much anything though. Right. You know, it could be fossil fuels to, you know, toothpicks. Like, I don't know.
Right. And especially in metalcore where it's like, you know, the scene and the sound has been like so much the same thing for 10 years now since like Under Oath exploded. It's just like every band kind of has that similar vibe.
Speaking of Under Oath, that new song is so fucking good.
It's really good.
I listened to it like 20 times today. I feel like it's like if Disambiguation had Aaron on it. Yeah. But no, exactly. No, but what you're saying is true. It's like, it's so hard to stand out in metalcore. And I feel like we're in a perfect little pocket right now where like from first to last bands are coming back and like attack metalcore is coming back. Yeah. And it's weird because our whole thing when we started was almost like a joke where we were just like, hey, we just want to bring back that like Asking Alexandria 2010s Risecore stuff everyone secretly misses, but make it more hardcore. Yeah. Like, and that was what Saving Vice started as. Like, that's what Hell Here was supposed to be, and it's like that's like our most famous song. But like, it was supposed to. We wanted to bring that style back, but not make it as cheesy, you know, and like have the music, the things that musically made it so appealing, but try to take itself more seriously, I guess. Yeah. And that was kind of what it started as. And then now that whole wave has come back, and it's been perfect for us because our older music from like 2018 and stuff has been blowing up more because we were doing it ahead of time. Yeah. So it was one of those weird times where like we were ahead of the curve too much, where it didn't really go off quite, like it went really well, but not as well as we wanted it to. But now later, like things are, it's weird how that works. Like, well, that's why we try to write like every song on the album, like with a different sound in mind. Like, hey, you know what? We really like this. We think this is really cool. I don't know if people are going to vibe with it, but it'll be out there. And maybe in 5 years, everyone will be doing this, and this song will suddenly be everyone's favorite song on the album. Like, because I'm a firm believer in that, because like there's a lot of bands I listen to all the time now who I used to hate. And the cool thing about that is when you finally like get warmed up to a band that you didn't like, you have like 6 albums to just binge. Like, it's dope. And so I always look at it like, hey, we might release something that not everyone loves today, but maybe 10 years from now, they have like 50 songs they love to jam all at once. And, you know, you got to kind of look at it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I recently talked to Aaron from Of Mice and Men, and I didn't listen to them because they're part of that Rise record scene that was blowing up. And I was just like, that was not my thing at the time. And so I never listened to them. And I got sent the new EP.
He's still bassist, right?
He's the vocalist now.
Yeah, you don't know, but before, because I remembered him from, because I used to jam Jamie's Elsewhere.
Yeah, Jamie's Elsewhere,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, I listened to their new EP and I was like, oh, this is dope. And then I went back and listened to their older stuff and I'm like, oh, I'm a fan of this band. I like this band.
I feel like I never liked Austin Carlisle as a person, but I always liked his music. And then after the flood, I didn't care about anything him or Of Mice and Men did until the most recent stuff that Of Mice and Men dropped.
Yeah.
Like Obsolete and all that. Like
Timeless and Bloom, yeah.
Because it was like those later albums, it was like Aaron was already the vocalist and Austin was in the background just repeating lines like he was kind of obsolete as they right time ago. And so I just didn't really, I don't know, I wasn't really caught up with it. And Jamie's Elsewhere, I feel like Aaron was the best part about that band because everything else was just ripped off from Attack Mask Alexandria and their old shit, like to the point where you can like put songs next to each other and it's blatant. And so, I mean, good for him getting to have a second shot because like I would hate for my legacy to go down as just being like that band that dropped that one like C tier Asking album but you know, now he took over the whole band, you know, and he's a great vocalist. It's cool that they still do the like actual like metal thing. If that, do you want when I say that, you know what I mean? Like, like if there was a Metallica style of metalcore, it would be like Killswitch Engage, Of Mice and Men, you know, like that's they still like are up there like we're gonna grow our hair all greasy and like just and just like shred with our like, you know, locks and just write tasty riffs but it's not riff salad.
Yeah. It's
like still structured, you know?
Yeah. Well, how did Saving Vice get started?
Oh man, dude, that's a story I've been trying to figure out a way to condense for interviews for like 4 years. But I'm going to try to do this in like bullet points that are not going to give you all the details, but will at least give you the timeline. So why don't we just do this? Like BC or AF, how are we going to do it before Tyler? So we'll call it BT. Yeah. So in some year, BT, Robbie, our guitarist, started the band in his dorm room at St. Michael's College in Vermont, and he Craiglisted a bunch of dudes from around the area. One was a dude from Boston who was living in Vermont. One was Chase. One was our previous drummer, Evan, who was also going to the same college. They wrote some songs. Robbie used to play bass, but write all the guitar. Now he plays guitar in the band because it makes sense because he's always written most of the guitar. They did a couple like, you know, porch, local bar shows, whatever. They did their thing. They had another vocalist. They went back and forth. They hit me up to do merch for them, to like model merch, and then found out I used to do vocals and all that. And then I hit them up basically being like, oh yeah, I'm done with music, but I'd love to maybe help you guys out because I want to be involved. I ended up joining for a couple shows in the summer. Next thing you know, we had a manager, we played Warped Tour, all that, just kind of evolved from there. And then so that was all like 2017 was the first year I joined the band. We played some local shows, found a manager, kind of made a plan, revamped the whole band, and like officially released it as like the Saving Vice it is now in 2018. We dropped Exhale, and then we dropped the Colder Than Dark EP. We did like the Warped Tour thing, we played a couple festivals. And then we wrote Hello There, dropped Hello There, you know, did like a couple of small tours. And that was pretty much it. Just kind of grew from there. We just kept trying to like one up everything we were doing. You know, it's like we tried to have better gear, a better live show, better recordings, better merch. Like, what does a label do? because like I'd always felt like you had to be signed, and then we kind of realized that you don't have to be signed. You just have to be able to do the jobs that the label does. So we taught ourselves to do merch, marketing, royalties. You know, we have an LLC, we have BMIs, we have people who run social media, we have different jobs, and we just kind of like built on it. And quarantine, you know, the pandemic really fucked us because we were an independent band. So when we weren't playing shows, that was literally all of the show money we made for the past 4 years went directly into funding all our videos and our recordings and everything. Like we still don't make money off the band yet. Like all goes into funding this. So that was really rough for us because we like tried to keep up writing music and releasing music and doing stuff to not, because we just dropped this album. We spent all this money planning, and then we played one show and everything got canceled. So we just spent all of that year trying to desperately keep the ship afloat because we didn't know, hey, when is the vaccine happening? Is music ever coming back? And that was like the scariest thing ever. And like, it's still like, we all got a lot out of it, but it still blows my mind that we came out of the quarantine, like still as a band with how hard it was. But yeah, you know, here we are trying to like get back on the horse, and like we have shit we haven't announced yet, but you know, we're ready to, we just got our new van and we're going to go do what we were trying to do, you know, in that 2020, you know, and we're gonna go tour, and that's pretty much the short version of from there to now, you know. Yeah,
it's kind of a real bitch that like February 2020 you're putting out this album all bright-eyed bushy tail, we're gonna go tour and like take over, and then like nope, you can't do nothing now.
No, dude, and it was like, and I've told this story so many times that it starts to sound like self-promoting, but like we basically like we booked our album release show. It was the first time we had played in Burlington, in our hometown's biggest venue ever. Like since our first summer playing shows, we opened for Double Wrist Prada at Higher Ground, which is like the venue in Vermont. This is the first time we've been here in 4 years, and we headline, we sell it out. It's like the best show of our lives, and like the whole world feels like it's in front of us. And like to the same day, by the next Saturday, everything was shut down. And like our tour we were planning was canceled, and it was just like, dude, we spent like just like on just the album alone and that whole bundle, spent like 10 grand out of pocket, you know, doing this. And like, so we had to just spend more and more money trying to push it and release more stuff, like trying to figure it out, you know. And like, that's one of those times where, you know, maybe having a label would have been better, but you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we would love to have a label if it was the right deal, but it's at the end of the day, it's a bank. Like anything you get, you owe back later.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, I feel like we know we could have done this if, you know, we hadn't gotten our nuts clipped, so to speak. So we're down to like keep trying to be DIY as long as we can. You know, we put the work in to do it, you know, to try to learn what we could, because like, hey, like it's really hard to thrive and like make a living as a band in this scene, in this genre, especially after everything. So it's like anything we can keep and do ourselves obviously is dope. But like when it comes to, there's definitely some things in this industry where just having the fucking people in your corner like makes all the difference. But there's always a cost or a trade-off, you know.
What led to your decision to cover Bring Me to Life?
So we just like, okay, so that's kind of funny because like this band, like, so we had like a couple other members that are part of the lineup as far as like, you know, if you go back to our music videos, you'll see 3 dudes that you don't see anymore. You know what I mean? Like as far as we can go back, we have argued and never agreed on cover songs, like ever. And we all love like old school, like new metal and 90s, you know, goth rock, all that kind of stuff. And Bring Me to Life just happened to come across the table and no one disagreed for like the first time. That was the song we went with. And we didn't really put all that much into it. We were going to try to shoot a video or like a studio video for it, but quarantine happened. Yeah. So we actually recorded it when we got done recording Hello There back. Okay, so we recorded Hello There January, February 2019. So we sat on it and spent the next whole year planning all the videos and the whole campaign and everything so we could tour on it and blow it all up and make this our big debut.
Yeah.
So that was why quarantine hit us so fucking hard. Like this was like 17 months of planning all laid out, like the MCU, you know what I mean? I thought of the MCU. Like that was how I planned. I was like, we're going to do this video, 3 months, we do this video, and then we drop this, and then we announce this, and boom, we do this, and then we hit it. It's like, so we recorded it way back then, and we recorded Bring You to Life because we had extra time in the studio. So we literally just tracked it on the last day before we left, and we're like, we'll just sit on this until we need something to drop. We'll shoot a video. And then over quarantine, we were like, well, we had this bullet in the chamber that we hadn't shot. We might as well shoot it now while like shit's, everything's hitting the fan. And that was just, so we just dropped it on its own. And it's one of our most streamed songs we've ever dropped. But it's like all of our accidental stuff is like that. Like the Black Ice acoustic, we spent $200 on that. And it's one of I think the top streamed song on our Spotify.
Wow.
And it was the least amount of thought and effort. I actually shot the video for that song in the morning before going to track vocals for Hello There. I actually went to a cemetery at like 5 a.m. and shot the music video and then went and recorded all day. Like that's how we've just always done it. But it's weird how that stuff works out. And like I love that song and I love the lyrics and I love everything, but I still go back and I can't watch that video. It's like cringy to me. And I know why people like it, and like I like the song, but I feel like if I could go back, I would have executed it differently. But I feel like that's like what being in a band is. And like I always say, like once I put it out there, I want to enjoy everything I make, but it's not really for me.
Yeah.
It's for other people. And it might be something for them that it'll never be for me,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you talked about recording and writing over quarantine, taking everything in-house. You're releasing this new single, Phantom Pain. Talk about that decision. Like, I mean, you had to keep this machine going. Was it just like, hey, we want to have new material when we're out there because we'll be sick of Hello There? Or was it just like ways that you never know how long quarantine is going to go? And if we want to be a band, we got to keep having stuff to put out.
So we put too much out last year.
Yeah.
We dropped an album, a piano cover, an Evanescence cover, an acoustic Motionless in White cover, and the Binary EP, which is like one of our more popular things we've done, which is pretty sweet because that was like just us that was literally us just trying to like wave our dicks around and just be like, look how heavy we can be. Like, and it was just like, because it almost is like, we make this music because we like to, but don't think we can't go as hard as anybody. Like what it was, it's like we wanted to write music that would let us open for Chelsea Green. We wanted to we want to be able to make a set list and play with those bands because we like that shit. And we put it in our music and like we were like, we put that out. Like then we can just make this whole set of just, ass beaters, like, cause we like that too, and it was just like, hey, we're over quarantine. We might as well experiment. But the decision to like, with Phantom Pain, I mean, a lot of it comes down to just the attention span of fans these days, unfortunately. Like they don't, like we dropped an album not even 2 years ago yet. And like, but like within the first 6 months, people were like wondering when new music was coming. Like, I don't think there's an appreciation. Like, Under Us used to do an album cycle every 2 years. Yeah. It was like, and that was like expected. But now it's like you drop something and if you don't have another single out within 6 months, people like kind of write you off and forget about you unless you're so established or really big that like they can't. So it was that kind of fear of keeping up with that. And it's another reason why I think albums, at least for bands at our scale, don't make sense anymore. Because it's like the time and money that goes into making an album for like the month people will appreciate it unless it's viral is like not worth it, which is why Falling in Reverse has been killing it. They dropped like 3 songs in the past 3 years, I feel like, and they're on top of the game. It's like just, and we put that much effort into every song on the album anyways. Like we wrote every song and Hello There to be a single. That's why we did a video for almost every song. Like we don't put filler on it. We don't write filler. We don't like every song has to be good enough that if that's the song everyone likes the most, it's the best song kind of thing. Like that's so with it just came down to like, hey, we can't not release another song. So, but we were gonna wait until at least shows were coming back. Because that would make sense. Then we could at least like ride off of it and like our name would be around and we could actually go out and support the brand, you know? So we wrote the demo. Like I said, like we had like had the lyric, like Robbie wrote the beat and the instrumentals. And then I had some lyrics written. And then we basically went to the studio for a day to hang out and just decided to write and track the whole demo in a day. And we did. And then presented it to the rest of the band. And we're like, this is Phantom Pain, you know, and like our manager and was like, this is going to be the next single. And then we've been writing since. I mean, we have enough songs to write another album or so easily that we're sifting through. There's other stuff in the works that obviously I can't bring up yet, but that was like the song we've just been sitting on. And then once we realized shows were coming back and we started actually booking again and buying a band, we went and re-recorded it with Randy, who did Hello There, Randy from If I Were You, and started planning this whole campaign. So like, yeah, this has like been, we've probably been working on, I don't remember, I think we filmed a video in May or something like that. And like, I directed and wrote the video treatment. Like we wanted to make it super, we really got it down to like, I got to hand draw all the merch designs. The entire whole video and the whole theme was just like my movie vision. Like I wanted to make, you'll see once it comes out, but is this dropping after we release the song? Can I talk?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the single is out now, right now. Boom.
You've seen it?
No, I've not seen the video. I only heard the song.
Oh,
I've only heard it.
What'd you think?
The song's cool. It's very different. It's got some new metal, Korn-esque vibes that I dig. Like it's one of those things that's like, it's different enough from like your average metalcore song to catch your ear, which I like.
The Korn thing, I would never like. Obviously, like we've showed it to everyone we personally know in the industry to get feedback. And they only said Korn. That's cool because I never listened to Korn. That was supposed to be like a Ghost Main, Motionless in White kind of vibe. Like at least like that wasn't like, oh hey, we want to write it like that. But it was like when Chase was gonna start rapping, we were like, it can't be like trap. Like that's not who we are. It won't sound natural. No one will buy it. It'll make you sound like a clown. Like you can't do it. That's not what we are. But it's like I love the idea of the spoken word rhythm because Chase's screams have always sounded like rap being screamed. Like that's how he writes in his rhythm and his structure. So it was like, okay, let's at least do like the cool vocal effect stuff we do with the screams and kind of bury it where you're yell screaming. You're not like, oh yeah, what? Like trying to get all like culturally with it in a way that doesn't make sense for who we are, that would seem totally pandering. Like we didn't want to do that. So, but that was cool that you brought up the Korn thing. Cause like our whole thing is like, hey, the next song we're writing is heavy as fuck. Like as heavy as Colder Than Dark, Hello, like what, like current Spirit Box level shit. Yeah. But we obviously all know that, yeah, this song is probably going to hit home with a much broader audience we've ever hit before. But we do understand that some of our fans who followed us since the beginning might be a little like, okay, this is different. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are regarding that, where that balance was. Like, do you think we did that well with like keeping that old sound prevalent, but making it feel new?
Yes. I mean, so I heard the single first. This was presented to me. I heard the single, I dug it, and I said, "Yeah, let's chat." And then I went back and listened to everything from there, which is
so you heard the new song first.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That actually makes this unique because you're the first person who's interviewed me who hadn't heard our other stuff before the new song. So that's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so you can see how the music progresses. And I think you mentioned like wanting to always do something different and take each track on its own and not be like, this album has this sound. So yeah, I think it encapsulates the band. It's very different, but it's not like different in a bad way. It's like, yeah,
well,
it's totally.
I feel like the whole problem with like us is like our stomach, like, I don't know, our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, like it always has been. We've always done everything like, hey, this could blow us up if we do it right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we do this right and the right person sees it, no matter how small, whether it's opening for Prada, playing Warped Tour for one day, like, if we do it right, someone could see us, and this could be the thing that blows us up to that level. And we've had to have that mentality with everything because we're that. So when it came to like trying to do something different and risky, it was hard because it was like, okay, so like everyone's trying to do the same shit all the time whenever something new comes along. So like, how do we take what's different about everything that everyone is kind of looking for, but not seem like we're trying to just do that same thing? And that was kind of what Phantom Pain was like, hey, like, how do we appeal to like what everyone obviously wants to hear that like we're listening to, because like we're all listening to most of the same music everyone else is, you know, we're getting inspired by the same stuff, but it's like, how do we avoid sounding like every other band getting inspired by the same stuff? And that was what Phantom Pain was just us trying to like take elements of what is trending that we like and just infuse it into what we're already doing. And obviously, if it was on an album, we wouldn't be worried about it because you would just hit next and then you would hear a deathcore song probably. But when you're dropping singles, it's like, okay, this has to like not completely discourage and turn people off who love our other stuff and still grab new people. And that's kind of is the first time we've really done something like that. This is the riskiest single we've ever dropped. Like everything else we put out was a sure thing for us, you know, and it was like, this is definitely... someone is going to be like, oh, they're pandering to the new Bring Me the Horizon hip hop, blah, 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 blah. And then someone else is going to be like, oh, they masterfully blended it all together. But I feel like like anyone who doubts it isn't going to understand until our next song comes out where we're like, don't worry.
Yeah.
Here's like some crazy darko shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. I'm one of those people, like, I love black metal. I could listen to like 100 Madball albums in a row, right? Like,
yeah,
but like that's just good and I enjoy it. It's not like I'm like, oh, it's just like, yeah, I like this. So when something comes along that's different, it's like, oh, they're doing something unique and different here.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Phantom Pain hit me, was like, oh, this is something different than just like here's some attack core.
And I appreciated that. And I feel like I think that most, the reason we're comfortable doing it is I feel like most people are open to hearing, they want to hear something new that sticks out to them. What makes me like, when you heard something like when you first heard Attack when no one was doing that electronic metalcore and you were like, oh fuck, this is about to be the next thing. Like, you want to be the first band to do that, but it's hard when you don't know, like, does everyone want change? Some people don't. But I think it's more so the whole fear of, like, I think way more people would be open to those changes if they knew it wasn't going to change the sound forever. Like, I was really disappointed. Like, Under Oath is my favorite band of all time. And I was not impressed with the Race Meet. Like, I understand what they were trying to do. I understand blah, blah, blah. But, like...
See, I loved it.
I like a lot of different genres. And I liked, like, 3 songs on it. Like, 3 songs a lot. And it's not like I thought any of the songs were bad at all. But like, that band has, like, been driving through my core my whole life. And now they drop an album where only 2 songs really relate to me. And the rest of it, I was like, it just isn't grabbing me. And so for me, it was like, oh man, like, I guess, like, that's the band they are now. Like, I still support them. I'll still go see them. Like, I still love all their old music, but I'm not going to really get excited about new music. And then they dropped the song they dropped the other day. And I was instantly just like, okay, so they were just trying something else.
Yeah.
They still got it. And that's like what we want to show our fans. Like, hey, we're going to do... That's why with Hello There, we tried to do such a spectrum of, like, radio rock to deathcore. We wanted people to be like, oh, it's like, don't worry, like, they'll do a deathcore song next week. Like, I want our fans to never worry that we're going to stop making the shit that made them love us. And that's kind of like what our whole release schedule has sort of been trying to build so far, I guess. Yeah.
And dropping singles, it's not like you're committed to this sound for a whole album. It's like we recorded one song. Yeah. This is one song.
And it might not even be on an album.
Right. You know? And it's on Spotify. And if you like it, add it to your playlist. And if you hate it, here's every other song we've ever written that you can pick and choose from your favorites, because that's how we consume music now. It's like, if you hate it, okay, well, that sucks for us, but not for you. You could still be a fan of our other songs.
Yeah. And it's like, if you think about it too, it's like, when you start to think about music on that level, like, hey, it's like, if you really support a band and care about them and want them to keep making music and keep thriving, like, you need them to be successful. And it's like, if they need to drop a fucking dubstep remix because it's going to get them like millions more streams and more money so they can keep making the metalcore albums they really want to make, don't get mad at them. Just know they're doing it for you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like they might be doing it because it was like that, or they break up. And if you had a choice of like your favorite band breaking up or releasing music you hated so they could thrive, no one is going to pick the right, unless they're one of those like elitist douchebags who shouldn't have an opinion anyways. So it's, and that no one else cares about. So, you know?
Yeah.
But that's how I see it. Like, it's like, I try to look at it like, hey, like, I'm glad they're not broken up. Because when you're in a band, it's like you put your whole life on the line. You go without health insurance. You do this whole thing. You put everything into other people when any other person in this group could make the slightest fuck up and ruin your whole career and everything you've built and risk your life on. So it's like, I try to look at every band like, I'm just glad they're still going. It's hard. It's a hard life and it's a hard commitment. And so many people like are just so hard. Like, I don't even read YouTube comments. Like, I don't look at like people shit on Facebook because like, it's a bunch of like losers in their bedrooms who have no grasp on what it takes to make it in the industry, having opinions with no information to back it up and like no precedent that they understand. And it's just like, I used to be that kid, you know, I would talk shit on bands and then I'd hang out with them when I got more networking and like realized these days are really totally awesome dudes who are just trying to do their thing. And like, I used to just shit on them because they didn't like their music. Like,
right.
Such a fucking loser. Like, that's how I feel. So when I see people like that, I'm just like, dude, you're just like, oh man, fuck this. Like, you're so fucking lame, dude. Like, you're such a like tool. Go do something with yourself. Like, because I hate myself for being like that when I was like that.
Right. Yeah.
Then that's how I started feeling. It's just like, God, you don't even realize like you could have been just making the music you wanted them to make. Which is what I decided to do, is I'm just going to go make the metalcore no other band is making that I want to hear. And that's why my favorite band is Saving Vice.
Yeah.
And like, if the music you're making isn't your favorite band, I don't know if you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, you know, it's because it's like, it should have that meaning or a sound that like means the most to you. You know what I mean? If you're like, and that's what it is for us. It's like, we're writing the music that like, this is the coolest thing my favorite band could drop right now. That's what Phantom Pain is to us. Phantom Pain is the song I wish, Ask Alexandria, Falling in Reverse, Spirit Box, whoever, I wish they'd all come together and write this song because that's what we wanted to hear. And like, I feel like if you stick to that, if I could give another musician a piece of advice, it's like, right? When you hear a band, if you're like, fuck, the vocalist doesn't do this high scream anymore, or they don't write like this, or there's no breakdowns, go write the song with all of that shit that you want to hear. And just put it into reality yourself. And if you really can't and you really don't have the will to do it, it's like maybe you should just shut the fuck up and have your opinion to yourself. Like, I don't know. It's like, that's what I learned from going from a fan to being in a band.
Mm-hmm.
Just shut the fuck up and like have a little respect for the people trying to follow their dreams. Like, I don't know.
And if a band has a long career, like, you're gonna get tired of playing the same thing every night for 12 years, right?
Like, and I'm famous for correcting myself when I'm wrong. I used to hate Get Scared. Like, Get Scared is one of my favorite bands. I used to hate Devil Wears Prada. Devil Wears Prada is one of my favorite bands. Like, it goes on. I mean, it's just like there's shit they drop. Like Sleeping with Sirens, I've always listened to but never cared about. And then they released my favorite music of their entire career in the past 2 years. Yeah. You know, it's like, you know, and like so many people are like, oh yeah, they're burnt out. Like Memphis Mayfire just released the best shit they've dropped since The Hollow. That was in like 2010. They literally just in 10 years, they just finally beat themselves. And it's like, you can't just give up on someone. It's like, people are going to have a bad day at work. And that's what being a musician is. It's like, you know, you're going to put your heart into it. And it sucks how like passionate fans are and how passionate you can be as a fan. But I feel like not enough people stop and look at like, how heartless are you as a fan sometimes? And like, how hard do you critique a band and like not really have a real reason to? And like, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like that's like, it's kind of like retail where it's the food service where it's like, I think everyone should have to go be a waiter or work in the store for 2 months just to have that humility. Like, go be a musician, go drop a song, put it on YouTube, hashtag all of your favorite bands on it, and then you read every single comment and you tell me that you don't feel a little bit like an asshole for something you did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think, yeah, that's just like the world. And like, you just kind of have to accept that people are shitty, but I have a platform. I'm going to fucking use it to tell you that if you're a fucking person who does that, you're an asshole and stuff. Like, so, because I get to say this in interviews and you don't. So, because you didn't make the fucking music.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.